Hello, everyone. Hey, Konnie, welcome here.
Thank you. So nice to see you again.
Yes, it's so nice to have you here. So hello, everyone, and welcome to our today's webinar. It's a pleasure to have you all here. And on behalf of Express Publishing Brazil, I'm excited to introduce our guest speaker, Konnie Karma, the author of the Real STEAM series, right? So, Connie, I will briefly introduce you. Okay. Connie is a remarkable educator. Okay. She has experience in English as a foreign language and STEAM education. She holds a BA in English language and English language teaching from the University of Greenwich and a STEAM diploma from the University of Pittsburgh. Currently, she is studying for a diploma in TESOL at Trinity University. So Connie has contributed a lot for to education, and she's the founder of the STEAM network. Okay, it's a powerful initiative promoting STEAM-based learning, and she has collaborated with over 40 schools, okay, across Greece, Cyprus, Bulgaria, and Nepal. Additionally, she has delivered numerous workshops and talks and conferences, okay, inspiring educators and students alike with her vision that education can be a catalyst for changing the world. So I'm very thrilled to have you here today. I'd like to thank Disal for an invitation for having us, and you as always. So break a leg. The floor is yours, right?
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you all. And as you can see, today we're going to talk about STEAM. And as the title suggests, the real STEAM goes beyond reality. And indeed, this book can lead us beyond reality in education. So I'm going to start with a question, and I have included, let's say, a game throughout the slides, and I'm going to guide you through the steps and stages that we have inside our book. So our first stage, as we're going to see in a while, is I wonder, in which our students have to answer some questions, and I'm going to show you in a bit. So I wonder, what do we need in education? And I would like you to answer the question by sending me a message in the chat and share our thoughts. What do you think? What do we need in education? I'm going to give you 1 minute. Share your thoughts, anything. Meaningful learning, I can see there. Motivation, engage students. Any other ideas? Very good. Nice. Satisfaction, engagement, curiosity, investment, motivation. Very nice. So I'm going to show you what I think we need first in education. And I would say, of course, I agree with all of you, but I would also say feelings. So I think feelings are very important when it comes to learning and when it also comes to language learning. And let's see some more things about feelings. So feelings, as you said, you have mentioned motivation. So feelings can help our students remain motivated in the learning process. They can help our students enjoy their lessons. And of course, they can make them want to explore more relative topics to the lesson. So positive feelings enhance motivation, attention, and retention, but negative feelings can hinder self-regulated learning and achievement. So I think that it is very crucial to have happy students and students who want to come to our schools and who want to learn more about what we're teaching them, right? So what else do we need now? As I said, happy students. And as you can see here, this is a very happy student and a student of mine. And we are in the middle of a STEAM activity together. We also need happy teachers. And I think this is very important as well, because if we don't, if we actually aren't happy, because I'm a teacher as well, if we aren't happy, then our students won't be happy as well, right? So we definitely need happy teachers and teachers who want to teach our students more and to participate in more projects and new projects and creative projects as well. So we also need hands-on exploration. Okay, so when you ask a teacher to have a hands-on exploration, I think that the teacher should be definitely happy and she or he can be creative and curious about the project that is going to be followed, right? So our students are also very happy when there is hands-on exploration. And I truly believe that in order to learn the language, you need to live the language. And this is because of experiential learning. And of course, STEAM education emphasizes on experiential learning through activities like experiments or projects or designs or engineering crafts, right? So this approach fosters curiosity and inquiry in the classroom and also encourages students to experiment and discover. Now, a little parenthesis that I'm going to do here is that there is a major difference between CLIL and STEAM. So when we refer to CLIL, we basically mean projects, but in a more theoretical background. While in STEAM, we always try everything with our hands. All projects are hands-on activities that can help our students to explore all senses, to create and also innovate. Another thing that it is very important here to say is that we need to let our students be creative and curious throughout our project. So, for example, if we have I would say an engineering project that we need to try with our students, then we can also let them be more curious about it and brainstorm more ideas about it. So we always need to have in our minds that we don't strict to the rules, but we can also do more things if our students want to do more things about the project. So the next one, we had hands-on exploration. And of course, the next one is collaboration. Collaboration is something, okay, so I have a question. I just saw a question. So I'm going to go back just a bit because someone asked me to repeat the difference between CLIL and STEAM. There are a lot of differences, to be honest, but in my opinion and in my way of thinking, the major difference between STEAM and CLIL is that when we refer to CLIL, we talk about it in a more theoretical background, okay? So, for example, if we have to talk about gravity, let's say, we're going to talk about the laws of gravity and what gravity is, what gravity does, but that's all. While in STEAM, we are going to do an experiment in order to realize what gravity is in real life. So I think this is the major difference between the two. Of course, there are plenty of differences that you're going to see if you're going to explore STEAM. Now, let's go back again. Collaboration. Collaboration is the key when it comes to learning, when it comes to language learning, and of course, when it comes to 21st century skills. Okay, collaboration is one of the 21st century skills, and I think it's very crucial to have collaborative learning inside our classrooms, because otherwise our students will not become autonomous and independent learners, and they will not have the chance to exchange and share opinions with their classmates. So STEAM education, of course, aims to develop 21st century skills, which are a necessity in today's workforce, as I think you already know. Of course, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and problem solving are included, and these skills are now more important than ever for students to be able to thrive in a complex and, of course, technology-driven world. Now, my favorite one is creativity. So at this point, I would say that I have come lots of times to see students who don't think creatively, who, just follow the rules, follow the instructions, and they are waiting for you to tell them what they can do. But when you when you include creativity in your classroom, that can completely change. And it did change in my settings, in my classrooms, because as soon as they realize what they can do and how they can look at things from different perspectives, the whole mindset changes, right? So in STEAM, first, as you may know, it was STEM. So they incorporated the section of arts into STEM subjects, and so STEAM education encourages creativity and innovation. So basically, we encourage our students to approach problems from multiple perspectives and use creative thinking to find and develop different solutions. Okay, so let's say, for example, that our students need to build a bridge, right? Normally, they would just think of how they can make the structure and make it stable, maybe, or what they can put on the bridge, etc. But when you incorporate arts, the section of arts, because when we talk about arts, we mean all of the field of arts, they come to with different ideas, and they find different perspectives of the bridge, for example. Now, when I think of a classroom, to be honest, I imagine a classroom full of joy, exploration, research, communication, creativity, innovation, and of course, last but not least, respect. So we need to teach our students how to respect us, of course, how to respect their classmates, how to respect their environment, their classroom, and actually the world around them. And this is something very important that we can teach them throughout STEM. So basically, I imagine that we need STEAM. So let's dive into it. The first question is STEAM just 5 subjects? And the truth is no. STEAM is not just 5 subjects, and STEAM education promotes an interdisciplinary approach to learning, emphasizing connections between traditionally separated subjects. So, for example, when we have a science experiment, we don't have a science experiment. We also have incorporated, for example, mathematics in it, or engineering, or arts, or more than 2 sections of the STEAM subjects, right? So when we talk about STEAM education and STEAM learning, we need to have in our minds that we always connect all the subjects together to create a STEAM activity. Okay, either with the steps and the procedure that our students follow throughout the STEAM experiment, or with additionally or extension activities that are there to be followed after the procedure of the main activity. So this approach encourages our students to think critically and creatively while solving real world problems. And this is something extremely important as well, that our students always have to carry out problems that are real life. Okay, so whatever they make, they actually need to think why they're making it and what they can do about it, and they can imagine it in the real world. Now, of course, STEAM has global impact, and this is very important too, especially for higher levels, but of course for your younger students as well. STEAM education addresses global challenges such as, for example, climate change, right? Or sustainable development, or technological innovation, and more among these. So when we equip our students with the skills and the knowledge that they need to tackle these issues, STEAM education can empower the next generation of innovators, change makers, critical thinkers, and actually our students. Of course, in STEAM, there's always equity and inclusion. So all students are welcome throughout the learning process, no matter diversity, no matter gender, age, etc. And when we engage our students in hands-on relevant learning experiences, STEAM education can create a bridge, actually, and promote diversity in education. So all students have access to high-quality STEAM education, regardless background or ability. And this is something that I want to say as well. There are students who have learning difficulties, for example. In this way, we always can help them more and make them understand better and realize more about learning and language learning and language items, etc. So STEAM really helps students understand and follow the whole learning procedure better. Of course, academic research supports the effectiveness of STEAM education when it comes to student engagement, for example, or motivation or achievement. Now, I want you to imagine a class full of experiments, engineering crafts, art projects. So basically, it is a classroom full of exploration. And I cannot imagine a student who wouldn't want to come in this classroom. Everyone wants to participate in these types of lessons because they're just happy throughout the learning process, right? They cannot even understand that they are learning while they do. So STEAM approaches can improve student outcomes in STEM subjects, and of course, not only STEM subjects, but basically in every subject, and foster a deeper understanding of complex concepts and issues. Now, the next one, which I find very crucial in learning, is learner autonomy and independency. So, first of all, why do we think that learner autonomy is important? And I'm going to pause for 10 seconds here. And I would like to ask you, why do you think that learner autonomy is important in learning? What do you think? Any ideas? Just brainstorm some ideas and type them in the chat box. I'm going to repeat the question. Why do you think learner autonomy is important in the classroom? What do you think? For motivation, engagement, confidence, to empower them, students' agency, activate their curiosity, motivation, independence. They can use their own pace, right? Personalized learning, creativity, autonomy, happiness, of course. Student becomes active in the learning process, right? And of course, I totally agree with what you have said. And I would also like to, fulfillment, encouragement, evolve the ability to learn alone. Exactly. So when we encourage learners' autonomy inside our classroom, we also encourage them to be autonomous in their life, in their studying, in their responsibilities. And that really helps them to follow the learning process throughout the years and become autonomous learners, because I don't think that there is someone out there who wants his or her kids or his or her students to be not able to study alone, for example, or not to be autonomous when it comes to responsibilities and things that he or she has to do. So I truly find learner autonomy very, very important in learning in general, and it should be followed throughout all the years. So all STEAM activities are learner-centered and student-led. Both of them are equally important. Students are encouraged to use diaries and agendas that encourage learner autonomy. And so I'm going to explain diaries and agendas in a bit, in the next slides. Students are pushed to dive into a routine where they start following specific steps, and they are able to understand how to research, observe, and experiment on their own. So building routines in the classroom is very important when we want to improve learner autonomy and independency. And I'm going to show you how we can do that. And last but not least, teachers now have the role of explorers among students. So when you have a STEAM activity, you always explore and you always learn more things with your students, okay? So in STEAM, you basically don't teach your students, you learn with your students. And this is the major difference between traditional learning and experiential learning and in STEAM education as well, because we always find out more and we always learn more when we try actually to teach our students. So imagination is more important than knowledge, and I found this quote really, really, really interesting and important, and I totally agree with it. So let's start with some things that need curiosity and imagination. So first of all, before we dive into the book, I'm going to give you two tools that you can use alongside with your book just to sparkle your lessons. So the first one is the Wonder Walls. Let's say that you start your academic year and you have a class full of happy students who want to start the academic new year with you. What is the first step that you can do to encourage them and to motivate them for the new year? Wonder walls. So you basically need to ask questions to your students, okay? So let's say a question could be, what do you want to learn this year? All right, something very general. A student could say, I want to learn more about animals, for example. Oh, you want to learn more about animals. Let's see that. What exactly do you want to know about animals? Do you want to know about pets? Do you want to know about wildlife? Anything, okay? So we start asking more question on the student's question. And then we create a map with questions on the wall. Now, of course, metaphorically speaking, you can just put a piece of cardboard paper on the wall and write down all the questions there. Now, the really interesting thing here is that I'm really sure that you're going to find common questions between your students' questions and the books that you're going to be using. So you can connect these questions. And for example, if you have to answer a question about animals, then you can open your book, find a chapter, a unit, a module, a lesson about animals, and start analyzing it with your students. And then you can also do some research online and find more answers and try to give answers. Of course, there are some times that there are no answers to some questions, and that's completely fine. But you can try guide them through their curiosity. In this way, you're going to motivate your students and find more questions that you can work on throughout the year. Now, the next one is diaries. Diaries or journals or even bullet journals. So this is an amazing tool that you can use with your students. So you can just have some notebooks with blank pages like scrapbooks, and you can ask your students keep record every time after their lesson. For example, if you have an experiment, if you have had an experiment in your classroom, if you did, then you can ask your students to go home, draw the experiment, analyze it, write their new words, write what they did in the classroom, and write down some notes they want or anything they want to remember from their STEAM activity. In this way, when they go back, they can remember and refresh their memories. And also this encourages, of course, autonomy, but it can help them stay focused on the learning process and also remember all the learning outcomes they have had on that lesson. And this is something very important and very helpful for our students' memory and also motivation. Now, this is the book. This is the real STEAM. We have launched the three first levels so far, so pre-A1, A1, and A2. We're working on B1 and B2 at the moment, and we are going to launch them soon, I hope. So let's explore STEAM now. You may know or not, it doesn't matter. STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And when we talk about science, we talk about experiments, research, of course, and results. When we talk about technology, we don't always talk about technology in the sense of gadgets and softwares and applications and things like that. But we also mean the root of technology. For example, plans and design. And my favorite example, which I'm going to give you now, is that if I had to choose between a computer and a hammer, referring to technology, of course, I would go for the hammer because, in my point of view, when we talk about technology, we basically talk about creating a tool that can give us a result, right? So this is the sense and the meaning of technology in educational STEAM, and more specifically in the real STEAM series. So the next one is E, engineering, and of course it is about creations and of course the thinking process behind a creation, or also about materials, material availability and resources, right? And of course then we have arts, the section of arts, and we always talk about creativity and different perspectives. And now another question for you: when we talk about arts, do we just talk about drawing and painting? What do you think? What else can you think of when we talk about arts? Again, write in the chat box your thoughts. What do you think of when you listen to the word arts? Is it painting and drawing? Songs, theater, exhibitions, open minds. Oh, I like this one. Open minds. Culture, craft. Imagination, creativity, colors. Very good. Expressing yourself. Shapes. Nice. Nice. Feelings, of course. Art is all about feelings, to be honest. So, when we talk about art, we also, of course, we do mean drawing and painting, but we also mean theater, photography, sculpturing, music, right? So we talk about all the section of arts. And last but not least, mathematics, and of course, we talk about the world around us, and we mainly focus on geometry. Okay, so now, why is STEAM a necessity in 2024 and the next years? So, if we search online, top 10 educational approaches in 2024, this is what we're going to get. Okay, so these are the results. And as you can see, we have gamification, AI, augmented reality, STEAM education, collaborative learning, distance learning, continuous learning, education, micro learning. So you can see all the results that we get when we ask to find top 10 educational approaches in 2024. Now, as you can see here, I have put some arrows in these ones. So, AI, artificial intelligence, STEAM education, collaborative learning, experiential learning, growth of mobile learning, neuroeducation, social learning, data analytics, big data, and skills development. Of course, we have incorporated AI throughout our STEAM activities because, of course, it is something that we need to teach our students how to use properly. And this is what we have done throughout the activities. Of course, STEAM education, collaborative learning, and experiential learning are very crucial in STEAM education, as we had explained before. Growth of mobile learning, which is also important when it comes to language learning, when it comes to STEAM education, and when we need to promote learner autonomy. And of course, as I told you before about AI and mobile learning is something that we need to teach to our students how to use properly and how to devote the right time, as I would say, the right time to their mobiles and to AI. Neuroeducation, of course, STEAM is based on neuroeducation, social learning, data analytics, because we always talk about math, right? So data analytics is incorporated into the section of mathematics, big data and skills development. So STEAM is indeed a necessity, and it helps our students thrive in our complex world. Now, I am going to show you the steps that we have in our books and why they are important to be followed throughout a STEAM lesson. So now this is the first step that you are going to see in our books. And as you can see, there is the aim of the lesson as a starting point. There is a question. And of course, there are some vocabulary items that are going to be needed throughout the process and throughout the experiment in that case. So I truly believe that there is magic behind every question. You know why? Because I think that every question has different paths that can be answered. So each student can find a different answer to the same question. And this is something that can lead us to different paths during our lessons, and our students can also guide us throughout the lesson with their answers or with their questions. Now, for example, here the question is, what is a chemical reaction? Okay, really vague, and it can really accept different answers. So there is no right or wrong here. Now we have the starting question, the vocabulary items, as you can see here, and the vocabulary items can also be used as learning outcomes for language learning purposes, but also these items are necessary in order to continue throughout the STEAM activity, okay? So we always foster our students' curiosity and we encourage their thinking process throughout the lesson. And this is why we start with a question and not with an answer, okay? So the first step is I wonder, okay? And as you can see, there is thinking process and collaboration, always collaboration in every step, almost in every step, but there is thinking process here, and we ask our students to think and imagine and collaborate with their peers in order to find possible answers, okay? So for example, this is something that leads us again to real life situations. And the question is, for example, where do you think we can see chemical reactions? In labs, in real life, in both? And students need to collaborate, find an answer to this question. And also then, as a lead-on question, they also need to be more specific about chemical reactions and what they think could be a chemical reaction, okay? So we also encourage their creativity by asking them to brainstorm. They always brainstorm, find ideas on the activities, and they can also come up with new ideas. And we always need to be supportive on this one. This is also very important because STEAM education, broadens their horizons and their curiosity, and we need to be prepared for it. So we cannot ask them to be curious, and then when they start being curious, just stop them, okay? So if they want to explore more about chemical reactions, we can also do it. Of course, not reactions. Okay, that's not a reaction, but if our students ask us to burn woods, of course we cannot do that, but in simple things and we things that we can actually do, of course we can help them. Now, the next step is the I imagine step, okay? So at this point, we have our supplies, okay? We show the supplies to our students and we basically need them to brainstorm, think creatively, and imagine how we can use our supplies to answer our initial question, okay? Now, creativity is a starting point here, but most importantly, when it comes to engineering projects and technology activities, because they also create their designing plans before starting creating our actual creation, okay? So they can see their supplies and start working on their plan, draw or write their ideas. Of course, we are always open to the options that we have here. They can either draw or write, depending on the language level or their what they want to do. So before we start the activities, we always ask them to imagine, and as we said, imagination is the key. And something very important as well, our supplies can also be our vocabulary items, and our instructions, can also be our grammar points. So for example, here you can see that we're practicing present continuous, grammar point. Are you putting vinegar in the jar or something else? Okay. So always have in your mind that you can always practice language learning throughout the steps. And then we have I explore and I observe. So in these two steps, we have here, for example, in the I explore not step, we have the step for the experiment. And we have tried to include easy to do activities because we need to encourage our students' independence, okay? Of course, this is pre-A1 level, but if you look at an activity in A2 or B1, of course, there is a difficulty. But again, we have tried to have easy to do things for our students. And then the observation part, which I find very important. So throughout the observation stage, so for example, here, the observation stage can last for, 10 minutes maximum. But there are experiments or there are other projects that the observation stage can last up to a month, for example. Okay, and this is something very important because we always ask our students to observe and look at them more and discuss about what they see and also write down the results, their thinking process and everything actually. And here I want to remind you of the diaries that I've mentioned before at the beginning. So if our students have their diaries, they can also go home after that and write down their observations, and then they can come back to your school, to your class, and share their ideas and share their observations and share their thoughts, okay? So, yeah, they have actually received the input and now they need to share the output. This is the step all about. In the I create stage, we always ask them, to create something additionally, for example, a piece of drawing or a poster or an advertising campaign or a TV spot, right? So there are always add-on activities that are connected to the experiment or to the STEAM activity. And our students always need to present something to their classmates, okay? In this way, of course, they practice their presentation skills and also their feedback analysis, and they give feedback and they receive feedback. And this is something very meaningful in the learning process. And there is always the evaluation here, as you can see, and the I extend step, in which we have added some additional activities that our students can do in classroom or at home, whatever works for you best, and can analyze more what they have learned and also find out more and find more information about what they have already done. Okay, so okay, yeah, here the I extend stage, as I told you before. Now, as you can see here, we have 5 units, as you can see, And of course, each unit is for every discipline of STEAM, okay? Science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths. So in this way, you can just read the contents and connect those lessons to your curriculum and your syllabus, okay? And this is something very helpful for teachers who want to implement STEAM in their language learning or learning environment in general. And they can make the connections between the STEAM disciplines and the units and lessons that they're working on. And of course, we have also included two long-term projects. So each project can last from 5 weeks to 2 months, okay, depending on the time that you can spend on the lessons throughout the project. And there are different concepts for exploration for your students. There is meaningful information, and of course, loads of language input and output, okay? So before you start your project, you will find the aim of the whole project and also a suggested timeline that can guide you through the lessons and the steps that you need to follow throughout the, the project, okay? So before we say goodbye, of course, we're not going to say goodbye because we will also have 10 minutes for questions. But I want you to remember that, yes, we are language teachers. But of course, first of all, we are teachers and we're shaping our students' minds, characters, and soul. And this is something very important to remember. And we shouldn't forget to bring joy in our classrooms because when I think of a child, I should always think of joy and happiness. And thank you for your attention. Let's STEAM the way with the real STEAM. And now I really want to see if you have any questions and discuss about them. I really hope you like the presentation and I can't wait to see you implement everything in your classroom. I really love these books. So let's see here. Do we have any questions? Okay, I can see here a question. The meaning of M that you asked me before is M stands for mathematics. Okay, so when we talk about mathematics, we have tried to implement a different point of view of mathematics and for example find the geometry in a piece of art. Okay, this is again mathematics, but we tried to find a way to put creativity into the section of mathematics, and this is why I mentioned geometry. Okay, because geometry is something that we can implement creativity through it. Okay, so the next question, how long does each lesson take? Okay, so that depends, all right? A lesson could take from maybe half an hour, and of course it can last up to a month, right? So most lessons throughout the units, not in the long-term projects, but most lessons last approximately 40 minutes to an hour. But again, it depends on your students, on you, on how much more you want to do about it. I hope I answered the question. If you have any other questions.
Connie, I'd like to thank you
Hi.
once more for this wonderful webinar. Okay. I guess, like most of us are really into putting our hands on and, like working on it. Okay. Thank you very
Great.
much. Okay. Thank you all for, like being here with us. And thank you, Express Publishing Brazil and Disal for opening this, like room for us to bring this topic, okay, to you all. Right? Thank you very much. This,
Thank you for having me.
thank you, Connie. Okay. See you soon, right? Bye.